Okay, we're back. At least there's a kamdawa there to keep you nice and warm, help the throat.
The throat, okay.
Because this story is going to be on fire. Okay, so piano, you're kucheza in the club. You talked about now playing it in school, and now
I'm in high school.
Yes,
and
high school.
I'm playing around with the keys, and I found girls who are also doing music who loved music and were passionate about music, and we actually just started vibing in, at the music room. Yeah, the only person who was
from 2 now, from 1.
I think even from 1.
Okay.
And also, there's just one girl who was not a music student, but she loved music, so she used to find her way to the music room. Her name is Viola. So she just used to find herself in the music room vibing with everybody else. And before you know it, I mean, we were sort of, we were what we were, and a group like this. So in class, the class was 4J, so we used to do stuff as 4J, and
4J,
just vibe for the whole class, perform, and before you know
and how many girls were you in this?
How many girls were we? About 3 or 4 or something.
Okay.
And we ended up becoming 5, 6, about 7. We formed a group called Sobriety.
Sobriety.
Yes.
Okay, so this is your first official group. Yes.
And the group was basically, we moved from that fiddling around with keys and everything to now actually having a cappella songs that we sang.
And a big question that I didn't ask. This is like 96?
You know how old I am. I'm old. That was 90 what? When was I in high school? 95 to 98, so we're looking at 95.
Okay.
So we're just busy doing our own compositions, and the rest of the team adding harmonies into it. And there was another group already existing in the school of now older girls. And we decided to come together, and then now Sobriety was born. And of course, since the school was very strict, and it was a strict school focused on books, and everything had to be structured. So when we came together, we're performing at school, basically parade time and all that, and it was nice a cappella and everything. And some of the girls did compositions. I'm telling you, if some of those girls ended up big artists, Amani, there were girls in that group. I'm like, man, they're good. They could sing, they could dance, they could compose songs. Till today, I look at the compositions they did, and I'm like,
crazy.
You have no idea. You have no idea. And they were excellent dancers, could choreograph entire songs. And I mean, from zile ambazo ziko, they look like they're very well structured, to traditional and everything. There were girls who were extremely talented in our group.
And would you go perform in other places as Sobriety?
Yes. It became actually such a nice thing, and we started performing at teachers' weddings, functions. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how the group became. Yeah.
Question: how can I even leave this one out? Forgive me. What are you listening to at this time?
I'm listening to all my now, because of when we moved to Thika. Of course, my mom, at the time, Ali decided mimi nashikilia wokovu kabisa. Jesus is our Lord, and everything became about Jesus, And she got involved in church and all that, and just basically growing her faith. So obviously, I got sucked into it because, she's my mom. So the music and everything. So I shifted now from listening to a lot of what my dad was listening to what my mom was listening to. Now, my mom's taste was different. My mom's taste was Kikuyu songs. And she had extreme case. She had Kikuyu songs that she loved very much. And on this other hand, she had like the Maranatha and integrity music kind of, I would call it like worship songs. So there's a lot of Maranatha in the house and a lot of integrity music in the house. I think you understand, with like contemporary worship and everything. So it was either going to be that, the Kikuyu, or the contemporary worship. And I got to really like the contemporary worship, and I still love Kikuyu gospel songs still today, courtesy of my mom.
Do you know any of them? Can you name any of the people you're listening to? Kikuyu gospel, or you know the songs?
Of course, Mary Wambui was played a lot. Yeah, she had that album. She played it a lot. I can't quite remember the rest.
But I'm sure if you hear the songs, you can.
But if I
jam to
hear
them.
the songs, I can jam. I'm like, yeah, that one. Then there's when it comes to integrity and Maranatha music, I literally know every other worship song by Integrity Music and Maranatha Music. I sang all of them, and my love for music started growing at that point in time. So I had this hookup guy who used to sell me then tapes, and then became CDs in Thika Town. So I used to go to him and ask him, so which contemporary worship song do you have? So that's what I was listening to. But when I got into sobriety,
are you born again at this time?
I was born again, no. You know, I was born again for, that part, because, I'm following mom.
Yes, I guess, yeah.
I'm trying to be a good girl. So in high school, things started to change a little bit. I started hearing other things, akina Boys to Men, Uko, SWV, and I'm like, but another is good, but I had to skate dogo. So I started listening to
the devil's music.
A bit of secular in high school, and it was like a guilty pleasure. Like I could just hook up like the earphones, and I'm like, wow, sounds of Mariah, sounds of SWV, sounds of Boys to Men and all that. And and I was in an a cappella group, so I used to really listen keenly how they're doing their harmonies and everything.
Oh, nice.
So that I could assist guys wakati tunaandika harmonies a cappella. I'm also contributing to the group and everything. So that's what I was listening to at that point in time.
Okay, cool. Then is there any other thing that I don't want to just close the high school chapter without you closing it.
High school was interesting. I still did poetry in high school. I still competed heavily in poetry in high school, and still got to national levels and provincial levels.
So you're really good at this poetry thing, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
Stage Lianza Kitam was introduced to the stage as a very... No, I could never. That's a funny thing. I could never act because I thought it was funny.
I don't understand. You thought it was funny to be somebody else.
It was funny, like doing stuff that's not even real. So, as in... So I never got to harness that skill, but I think I could act if I really put my mind to it. But, and I was literally obsessed with music at that point in time. So I was doing music most of the time. I mean, there was Sobriety, and even when music festivals were there, I was heavily involved. I used to get involved in 3 things every year: drama, music festivals, and science congress. So those were my things. Sports, no.
Nothing.
As in, no sports whatsoever. If I could miss PE and that whole... We were at the foot of Mount Kenya. What are we doing again out in the cold? So yes, that's what I basically used to do. It was drama, music festivals, and science congress. The reason behind science congress is very cheeky.
Boys.
The boys for science congress were more interesting than the ones for drama and music. They were the sharp ones. Okay. Yeah, it was cheeky.
So what happens now? Do you do well, or are you...
I still remained an average student.
Okay.
So I just worked hard because I realized that...
But is average in that school a B?
Like, yeah, you know what exactly. I mean? Yeah, average in that school, in another school would be fine. But in that school, it was, you were an average student. And I was like, you know what? That's fine with me. And I'd tried, But even then, being a teenager, I had like my own issues and everything. I think if I'd really knuckled down and read, I would have probably been above average. But I was just being a teenager. I was involved in music. I was involved in other things, in drama and stuff like that. Drama, when I speak of drama, it was, those traditional dances and everything, but they helped. They really, really helped because they made me start liking African music, so to speak. So I developed a love for African music, Swahili African songs, Kikuyu songs and everything. I developed a love for it because I remember my music teacher, God rest his soul in peace, Mr. Wachira, he said that there was a classical, actually this is how our music school was structured. There was a classical music teacher and there was an African music teacher. That's how serious they were about music. So my African music teacher, Mr. Wachira, very nice man. And he said something very profound. He said that our music as Africans is as good as the music in the West. So when you think of African music, don't think of it as being beneath. It's at par. So that Kikuyu song, traditional song, is at par with that classical music song from Beethoven. That's ours.
That's crazy.
So that was like so profound for me that I never got to sikudharau music yetu, sikudharau hizo songs tulikuwa tunaimba, because I realized that this is our heritage. For them, they teach you about Beethoven, they teach you about the classical, composers, because that's their history. But we have ours, and they're just not folks. It's just not folk or music. It's actually proper African music compositions.
Hey, that's so, like what you've said right there.
Yeah.
We can end CTA. Bye, guys. No, I'm serious. That's so powerful, because I only got to realize what it is that you're saying many years later.
Yeah.
So for somebody, first of all, for that school to have both systems, somebody teaching you
African music and teaching
classical. That's just big up to Gatumu?
Bishop Gatimo Gandu.
Hey, big up to Shulea Books.
Shulea Books. And, the classical music teacher, she was also really good. She had been classically trained and everything. I was more drawn to the African side. Now, my friend Viola was more drawn to the classical side, and she competed like classical competitions and everything, and actually ended up in Berkeley.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Viola, CTA is waiting for you.
So it was,
I love it. Okay, just because you mentioned African music, are you listening at this time to any Kenyan music? Because I'm sure by the time you're ending Form 4, it's beginning to come out.
By that time, the only African music I knew was the one I used to see at Music Time. Remember that program called Music Time? Yes.
That's it.
And
the one your mom is playing.
And the one my mom is playing in the house, those Kikuyu Kirosho songs. Those are the ones I knew. And I knew a few. Then around, I think when I was in 4th form or something, that's the time Hadstone and Nakina Kalamashaka. Was it from 3? I think around from 3 there. And I was like, wow, what is this? And you're playing those songs over and over again. And you're thinking, wow, this is something really cool. This is something really big. So I was listening to Hadstone. I was listening to Kalamashaka. And I'm thinking, wow. So we also do have our own industry, So I was trying to see, okay, fine. And we also have our little industry over here. Yeah.
Okay, love it. So let's close this high school chapter. What happens next? You finish high school, go home.
I finished high school, go home, wait for my results. My parents, I think, still thought I was very cheeky. So...
Lockdown. Who you in Nairobi? Nothing.
No. I think for the longest time I thought I was cheeky. I think the reason why I was put to
was
school...
there proof? Was there proof of you being cheeky?
I had like a boyfriend who could, so... I finished high school, and literally by January I was in college. My parents put
That's how fast you...
Yes.
Hey, those guys are not giving you a gap year.
Then there's no at gap year. This girl, she gonna do something, and she already has a boyfriend. So let's keep her busy. So I and her boyfriend don't even see each other. So immediately after, I went to Jomo Kenyatta University.
JKUAT?
Yes, JKUAT. I immediately went to JKUAT in January.
Yeah.
They had started a program there where you could do a diploma in computer science and computer engineering. And I went straight into it.
First of all,
no briefing.
Let's take a break for you to have some of that. That's crazy.
Nilikuwa na ka boyfriend.
Let her have stuff.